and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Facebook Ad Kingdom podcast. Here we tackle some of the biggest questions surrounding Facebook ads, e-commerce businesses, entrepreneurship, products, and so much more. There's just so much more to talk about, and there's not enough time. Also, we don't swear that much, which makes this kind of kosher. I'm your host, Morty Rapp, and with me is my co-host and my boss, Azriel Ratz, founder of Ratz Pack Media. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. I'm wearing my headphones today, so we don't screw up the weird echo audio that happened last time. We want things to be...
All the three people that did or did not notice the terrible audio last time.
Don't
Shout
say
out to
it.
those people.
Ah, God. Well, in today's episode, we're doing something exciting. We are talking about how Israel grew one online brand from $7 million in revenue to $40 million in online revenue through the power of a year, through the power of Facebook ads. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so I want to start at the beginning of the brand. So the brand started in 2014-15, and they were struggling to get people to buy their product. So they came with a very interesting idea, which was they wanted someone famous to wear their product. So they know, like I assume most people know, that everyone on Earth also wants someone famous to wear their product. Like, that's obviously you want. I would love The Rock to talk about how great I am at Facebook ads. That would be phenomenal. But everyone else also wants that. So these famous people are constantly bombarded with free stuff all the time. So the idea of getting a free publicity from a super rich person or a famous person is very unlikely on the internet. So the company, the founders, were thinking, how do we get someone to actually want to wear our product versus the 10,000 other options? So they came up with this genius idea, which was that they figured out like their close list of friends that they had. And they sent that close list of friends product the weekend before a big event, like a big, let's just say July 4th, Memorial Day weekend, whatever it was, some big event. They knew they would all have this product in their hands right before this big event. And they all showed up that same weekend wearing an assortment of product from this company. And so the famous person went to their agent and said, what's going on here? All my friends have this amazing product, and here I'm sitting without it. How is that possible? So the agent called up the company and said, what the heck, man? You sent all of her friends' product and not her. Send it over. And that is how they got this very famous person to wear their product. Not just once or twice, but on Instagram posted, her family members wearing it, other people in her group wearing it and posting about it. And it became an online sensation at the time, 2014-15, and it generated the company like $20 million. And it was unbelievable. And so they figured this is the solution here, is figuring out how to get super famous people to wear our product. And they got many, many famous people over the years to wear their product by doing something similar to this. The problem was that as they continued to innovate and create, other companies started copying their product. So now if I could buy the authentic, regular, real one at whatever, $150, or I go to Target and get it for $30, a lot of consumers seeing that product on the super famous person that obviously can't afford to pay that high amount of money for the luxury item might end up going to Target to buy it for 1/5 the price. So they started fighting with this issue that they were creating product and then other companies were copying them and charging them, a quarter of the price for it. And that happened for all those years, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and they essentially watched as their revenue dropped over the years. So they went from 20 to 18 to 16 to 15 to 12 to 10 by 2019, they were only making $7 million. So you might be a brand that's going like $7 million. I'd love to be at $7 million. For this company, that's like they're going out of business. They're on their way out the door. So they were freaking out. They're like, this is our first year under $10 million since, our enormous amount of money. We need to make a change. So they hired someone to do Facebook ads. That person was not me. They hired someone to do Facebook ads in 2019. And the person ran a handful of Facebook ads. And they were spending $5,000, $6,000 a month, nothing crazy. And they saw results. They were happy with the results, and so be it. And then in February of 2020, that person turned around and said, I'm done. I'm not interested in this anymore. I'm out of here. Goodbye. And he quit. And so now they're like, wait, we had this great thing going. These were our Facebook ads where we're doing well. We're finally like on trajectory, hopefully to, get out of this rut that we're in of losing money every single year. We need someone. And they found me. And I came to them and I said, you guys are going about this Facebook ads thing all wrong. Because it's true you're spending $5,000 to $6,000 a month and it's doing nicely, but why are you not spending like way more money? And they said, I don't understand. They said, well, what have you done so far? So they were actually only using their ads to target three groups of people. They were only targeting their email list. Then they were targeting their website visitors 30 days and their Instagram followers 90 days. That was it.
So that's like a safe assumption. That's like your immediate low-hanging fruit.
And so the idea behind the ads was they're only going to spend $5,000 to $6,000 a month. Target the best quality people. They already had this big, enormous following and email subscribers and previous purchases from all the years. So just focus on that super high quality list. At $5,000 to $6,000, you're going to get an amazing, fantastic return on ad spend, but you're not scaling to what your potential is. So for what the ad buyer did before was a very smart thing. You're only going to spend this small amount of money. Again, for many brands, $5,000 to $6,000 might be a lot of money, but for them, in comparison to not so many years ago, they were making $15 million a year. $5,000 a month is nothing, a drop in the bucket. So I came to them and I said, we need to change your entire thought process about ads. Instead of thinking about a budget of $5,000, what I want you to think about is you have a money printing machine. This machine works marvelously well. When you take $1 and you put it in the machine, that dollar turns into 10, 15, 20, whatever that number is. So if you knew that there's not really any other option, like you go to the stock market and you try to put $1 in, you get $2 back in 7 years. But you currently own a business that you're making enough product, you have enough interested people in buying it, and the market is billions of dollars a year. So now you could take that dollar and turn it into 10 this week. How many dollars are you going to go get? So I basically came to them and I said, what's the number? What's the number in the machine that you said I will get unlimited amounts of money? And they gave me a number, and that number at the time was 10 times return. And they said, as long as we can get 10 times return, we will spend as much as we can. So now it's totally shifting the thought process on ads. It's not, I have a $5,000 budget, but rather I want to make $10 for every dollar. In our first month together, we started like mid-February 2020. Our first month, we spent $50,000. Because the thought process wasn't, I have a budget of $5,000. It was, I can make 10 times on every dollar I spend. And so now, when you're not just targeting that small, tiny demographic of website visitors, 30 days, email subscribers, and half of your, or even 30 days of your Instagram engagers, there's so many more people that you could talk to on Facebook. And as long as they retained that average of 10 times return, they were super pumped. So what ended up happening was, if anyone notes, March 2020 was actually the start of COVID. So right at the beginning of COVID, many businesses ran away from ads. They said, we have to pull the plug on this thing because we don't know what's going to happen. In fact, I had a client, they had to fire half their staff because they couldn't afford to have people physically standing in their warehouse. They weren't allowed to, because of these restrictions. They had to fire half their staff, and they didn't know what to do, and they basically had to pull back on ad spend. But this company had a new mindset. They weren't thinking, oh, I only have my budget of $5,000. They were thinking, as long as I'm getting a 10 times return, I'm going to keep spending money. So while every other business was turning off their ads, we were scaling ads. And we ended up spending in the year of 2020 something like $1.5 million on ads. Now, compare that to what they were planning to spend going into 2020, let's call it even $10,000 a month. That's about $100,000 to $150,000 in ad spend. We 10x that ad spend. And we did it because the initial hump they had to get over was not more inventory. It was not more content. It was not who to target. It was just the idea that we're using Facebook ads as a machine to turn $1 into 10 or $1 into 5 or $1 into 3, whatever the number is for your business. And as long as you're happy with that number, we're going to keep figuring out how to spend. Now, with the desire to scale, you obviously can't just target that same group of 30-day website visitors and your email subscribers. So it became necessary to scale out to target all of the targeting options on Facebook. So we started, the first thing we did was we extended the website visitors to 180 days, which is the max, all the email subscribers, Instagram engagement a full year, which includes any video viewers from the last calendar year, including Facebook, which is not as strong as a channel for them, targeting, and then lookalikes to all of those audiences. But we knew that this worked really well, so we started and did a little bit of testing on 1% lookalike audiences. For those not familiar with lookalike audiences, basically you upload a list to Facebook, whether that's all the things I mentioned, you're based on your pixel, based on email list, based on phone numbers, based on engagement, and you tell Facebook, see these people, I want more of these people. And then you tell them what percentage of the country you want to reach. So in America, there's about 280 million active Facebook users in over 18 in America. And so 1% lookalike is 2.8 million people. If you did a 10%, that would be 28 million people. Back then, we were actually using a product that allowed us to make a 20% lookalike audience, which would mean each audience had about 40 to 45 million people when we were running these audiences. So we had a lookalike audience to each of these warm audiences: email, Instagram, video views, Facebook engagement, website visitors, previous purchasers, add to carts. We created a dozen or so lookalike audiences and then created 20% lookalikes. So each of these audiences had 40 million people in America, but they shipped internationally. We were running ads to every country all over the world to these audiences. On top of that, we created interest groups to target people that have interest of products related to this. So you imagine if you're a dress brand, you would be doing similar competitors, you would be doing events that they go to, that they wear this type of dress, or that they're interested in shopping, stuff like that. And we created these interests. And then because they had a lot of data, we also tested broad targeting. Today, many businesses use broad targeting. Back then, it was not as common to do, just letting the algorithm test. But because this audience had a lot of, this company had a lot of existing data, I also wanted to test that broad targeting. So basically, we came in, and the first month, we allowed the company to go from targeting this very strict, specific audience to target hundreds of millions of people all over the world with their ads. And as long as the combination of the warm, the cold, the repeat purchasers equal that 10 times return, they were super pumped, excited, and happy to run ads. So that's what the first couple of months looked like, was just getting that set up. But it had more to do with the desired wants of the company, why they were even running Facebook ads to begin with. Like when they came in to run Facebook ads at the end of 2019, it wasn't, let's turn this into a money-making machine. It's, let's not go out of business. Right. And that was their thought process. Like, we need to just not go out of business. We need to like get our ads going so we're not going out of business. But that shift that happened in 2020, while every other business was closing their doors and firing half their staff, they were scaling their ad spend. They were collecting lots of sales that would never have happened during that period otherwise, because people were staying home. Can you imagine buying like a luxury product when you're sitting at home? Like, who's going to even see it? But that's what they created. They created a brand around that. They obviously created content around that idea. But the biggest shift in that first year was the mindset of, we're turning our Facebook ads from something to save our business to something to expand our business beyond what we've ever thought possible.
So let me pause you on that point. So to summarize, basically, you step number one in scaling this brand that was, well, you said almost dying on the vine. It was shifting their mindset from making Facebook a place where you can make a little more sales to a place where you are going to make all of your sales, basically. That's what I'm hearing, right? Like they were at 1% of what could be done on Facebook, and you scaled them up to like 95%.
Correct. I mean, it's more than that. They were doing essentially nothing on Facebook. They were spending pennies on the dollar compared to what they could have.
They weren't using it correctly.
But it was because they didn't think to use it that way.
Right. So let me ask you a question. Okay, so they took that plunge with you, and there's obviously a very major like strategic and technical aspect of things that you did behind the scenes, and you explained that. But do you think there was anything else that maybe helped that situation, or could this formula that you built for them literally be applied to any ad, any like company?
So the mindset that that ads on social media should be used as a lever to take a dollar and turn it into whatever the profit margin you're looking for. That's the concept that should be used by every brand, right? Like if you're already, you've actually posted this quite a few times, you don't understand. Why is it that there are brands that are driving traffic to their website? They have an email newsletter. They're making a nice amount of money. We're talking about brands that are making $10, $15 million a year, and they have almost no active ads at all. It's because they don't have this mindset. They don't think about ads as this ability to scale up. There is really no better place at that stage of your business to put your dollars, right? You don't really have to hire way more people to do this management. You don't need more staff internally. You don't need to hire like maybe customer service. You need a handful more people to manage all the additional sales. But you think about the fact that most, let's say, fashion brands, they produce a product with the manufacturer somewhere else. The ability to ramp up making more product isn't very difficult. They just call them up. Hey, can you make double? Sure. Pay us money. And they're like, here's your money. And then they have more product, right? It's like, it's not so hard unless you're making something that's like actually physically difficult to get the source material. Like right. I physically can't get more diamonds. There's no more diamonds to get, right? That's it. I'm out of diamonds. So that's a problem. But if you're like making a dress out of clothing material, that's not really a problem. The manufacturing isn't a problem. The warehouse space, that should be your biggest issue. Like, oh, I need more warehouse space, right? Again, like calling up your 3PL and saying, we're going to send you 5 times more product, and be like, sweet, let's collect 5 times more product. We're going to charge you the same rate or potentially even less per product than we were before because you're sending us more, right? So this issue of you want to be able to sell more stuff, all the stuff you're already doing until now that got your business to $5 million is what's allowing you to scale potentially at an enormously fast rate when you actually accelerate Facebook ads. Because you're already creating the content, you're already sending the emails, you're already doing the customer service, you're already managing the website, you're already managing inventory, you're already producing inventory. So all of that structure is already there for you to say, let's sell 100 times more product. How do we do it?
So I'll ask you another question just based on that amazing point. This idea that, okay, so they shifted their mindset from budget to turning Facebook ads into a money machine. What other resources was the company able to provide you other than, capital to spend money on ads?
So initially, they were already producing 10 new content drops a year. So they essentially picked the first Tuesday of each month. It was like just a random day they chose. First Tuesday of each month, they're going to show off their new products. And so that's what they were sending me. Once a month, on the first Tuesday of the month, we planned to do a launch. And it was just showing off whatever new products. So they were already producing new products. But my assumption is any brand that's making more than $5 to $10 million, they're making new products, right? Like if you want to stay relevant, you have to, even Rolex is constantly coming out with new designs for their watches. So that's what you have to do, is that they were anyways doing those work, right? So if you're a brand that's that big, I will tell you there's a big difference between a brand that's like making $1 million and a brand that's making, or even 500,000 and a brand making $5 to $7 million. If you're, as an example, selling dresses online, the work it takes to sell $100,000 worth of dresses might mean 2 or 3 total shipments from your manufacturer a whole year. So you're basically saying, I know my fall season is going to sell me 10,000 products. Great. Let me order the 10,000 products up front. I'll have them all sitting in inventory. I'll sell them out over the fall, and then I'll order for spring when the time's right. And that's what brands of that size do. But that's not what Macy's does. Like, Macy's isn't putting, $100 million of inventory on the first of the day of fall and going, hey, send me $10 million worth of product. They're saying, our manufacturer's available. We know approximately how long it takes to get new product from our manufacturer. We're going to order this amount so that we can sell out from now until the next time the manufacturer, or maybe we even don't think they can produce fast enough. We're going to say, for this week, make us $100,000 worth, and now start preparing now for the next 5 weeks, as we ramp up sales, make more and more product. So as they scale to bigger sizes, $5, $10 million, they have to plan out additional drops from manufacturers. So they go from potentially 2 or 3 shipments a year from the manufacturer to potentially multiple monthly shipments from their manufacturer. So that's a huge shift. That's an enormous amount of additional work required by a company to go from a little business that's shipping twice a year, 3 times a year, to twice a month. But if you already are in that position where you're already producing, you already know the whole year worth of design. It's not a surprise for you in February that you're going to make a product in March. Like, you've already sketched it out and designed it and had models make it, and you've gotten the first feeling and you've had the first, model pictures on it, whatever that looks like. So it's not a surprise in March when you're going to get that thing shipped. So because they had been a brand that made $10, $15 million, they were already accustomed to that. But there are many brands that deal with this very serious problem of, I'm now need to call my manufacturer up and say, like, you got to start making a whole lot more product. They'll be pumped to do it for you. They'll potentially even give you a discount to that. But it's a different thing because you now have to deal with 10 crates coming in from wherever you're making it from, dealing with way more. I was talking to a potential client. They were telling me about that. They made a product. It arrived in the US and it got taken by customs and was held by the FDA for like some 2-3 week period. While they were like, wait, I need to sell my thing. And you're like holding it in customs. They ended up having to pay some like fee for like medical device that wasn't even a medical device. And they had to like pay this enormous fee and wait a couple of weeks to get it cleared by, whoever it was. And that's a problem we have to deal with. There are all these additional logistical issues. But if you're a brand already doing all these things, you're already shipping on a weekly basis, you're already producing new product, you already have an R&D team making it, and you already have the people buying it, so you know which ones sell well, the content that's working, you already have all those pieces. A business that's sitting at $5 to $10 million that isn't running Facebook ads likely has this entire thing already figured out. And really, the Facebook ads is just a matter of getting the right person in the cockpit of the ads to pull the levers in which piece of content to which landing page to which person at what time on what platform and how much spend and how much can we spend, not how much budget do we have, but how much can we spend to continue generating those results that we want and grow this business so that we go from 2 shipments a month to 5 shipments a month of our product.
Wow. So in that year, that $7 million year, what happened at the end of that year that you started scaling, you put more ads, you did all those levers, everything we spoke about? What happened that year?
So the $7 million was before I started. Our first year was $21 million.
Wow.
The first year from the 7 where they were basically not running any ads till the very end of the year to us starting towards the end of February 2020.
300%.
We went from 7 to 20 million. And it was just a matter of taking their content they already had and leveraging that content. So any organic post that did well turned into an ad. On top of that monthly drop on Tuesday turned into ads. And so that was the shift that we did in that year. And we just ramped up ad spend, targeted way more people than they were ever thinking about targeting. I think even if I don't remember 100%, but I'm pretty sure they were only targeting US when I came in, but they ship internationally. There is no hindrance for them to run ads everywhere. So I was like, why not also run ads to all of Europe, Canada, Mexico, Japan, and now we sell all over the world millions and millions of dollars worth of product in Canada, Australia, UK, South Africa, Israel, Spain, Portugal, like you name it. If it's if it's a place where these people would buy, we're selling it there now, and we're spending lots and lots of money all over the world.
So you were doing 21 million in the USA at the end of year one, and then the next year, what was the jump?
So the next year, we came to realize that, surprisingly, that first Tuesday of every month did spectacularly well. So there was this like upload of new content on that day, a post organically to announce that new drop, and then we saw for the next 3-4 days we'd have this like bump of sales, and it would happen every month on that first Tuesday of the month. The thing is that the company randomly chose this thing to do, like years before I even came in, the first Tuesday of the month. So I was like, could you just send me more content other days of the month and we'll just post about them? So they came to the decision that instead of doing 10 launches a year on the first Tuesday of each month, excluding their bad season, let's just do 48 launches a year. And then you might say like, well, that sounds like way more work. It actually wasn't much more work. All they did was they said, instead of launching 10 new products on the first Tuesday of the month, we'll launch 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 over the course of all 4 weeks of the month. And so now
spread it out faster.
Instead of having one drop at the very beginning of the month, here's our 10, 15 products, here's all the content, throw it at the wall and see what sticks. They basically said, here's the 3 of the products, come back next week when you'll get to see 3 more products. And just that shift of stretching the launches out and just essentially going from 1 drop a month to 3 drops per collection, which they very easily changed. The pictures were already taken. The product was already made. The product, the website was already available for them to upload the products as they saw fit. And now they just started launching separate launches every week. And what we saw was we didn't have that enormous increase on that first Tuesday of the month with that, those couple of days. But every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we had this bump that we created. And we went from 21 million internationally to like 33 million internationally just from essentially creating a new holiday, right? Wow, new drop of the month every week. So just having more content, it wasn't even more content, just stretching out the content launches across that period allowed us to show the more ads, more content to the same group of people. Again, we were talking about reaching hundreds of millions of people a year already before we did all of this, but now they're just way more stuff to show them, more products, more design, more photography, different imagery, different landing pages, different. So by doing that, we were able to get more out of the people we were showing ads to because we could show more stuff to those people. And then the next year we did something similar. We rolled out UGC Thursdays. So we didn't have a new launch twice a week, but we said, can we provide more of our bestseller product pictures from UGC creators and just upload those images and videos and carousels on Thursday instead of Tuesday. So now the extra work to put together an additional UGC post when already they're doing all this work wasn't that much more, but it allowed us to have an extra excuse to upload new creative in the account. And we went from about 33 to about 38, 37, 38. And that shift, again, was just a matter of showing more content. Now, if anyone's following along, it's been quite a few years now, right? So we started together in 2020. We're not talking about 21, 22, 23. And during that period, costs have gone up a ton. Impression costs are way higher. So we're not still, I'd love to say we're still sitting on that 10x return we were sitting at during COVID while everyone was sitting at home and scrolling through their phones all day and seeing ads. But it's simply not the case anymore that we're not getting cost for that same impression. We're not getting clicks for the same cost per click as we were getting back then. And even conversion rates are down comparatively to a period. You imagine if a person can't go to a store to buy during COVID, and now they can. So the competition of all those additional stores that all of these years are still trying to copy the designs of this client. So now that additional competition has meant that, yes, we have dropped our return on ad spend. But rather than saying, let's turn it all off, they reevaluated what the goal of Facebook ads were. Is it to turn your dollar into this 10x, which, by the way, isn't where profitability is for most fashion brands. If you're at 3-4x, you're profitable. You haven't, like, if you have a 30% cost per good sold, and you know your average return rate, and you know your average like defect rate that you get the product is not good and you can't sell that one, you know all that information, you're probably sitting somewhere between 35 and 45% costs on your product. So that means that even a 2 to 3 times return is profitable. And already once you're at 4, it's a nice, healthy profit. Like you are walking away with a pretty significant chunk of money in your pocket per sale at a 4 times return. So they reevaluated the goal of growth every year. From, instead of saying we want a vending machine that turns our ads from $1 into 10, it now became we use social ads, and they're now not only on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Google, Snapchat, all those other ads. We want growth every year, and that's what we're seeing. So the company probably now is probably going to hit $50 million this year. And it's
Amazing.
because they're leveraging, not with me, leveraging other platforms to do the thing that they're doing on Facebook. The return per dollar is similar enough that it's worth it to diversify, which 100% businesses should do.
Yes.
And they are still getting a return that is profitable on all of these platforms that they could spend $3, $4, $5 million on ads a year with leveraging the content and the new product that they have and the drops that they're doing and all of that stuff and constantly reaching new groups of people, right? So if at some point you're spending, $20 million a year on Facebook and you're like, I don't even know who else to talk to anymore. And you're doing the job of rolling out new content on a constant basis so that that group of people aren't seeing the same ads over and over again. At some point you might say, maybe I do need to go to another platform to just find more people. It's not even about getting a better return. It's just a matter of there's 100 million other people somewhere else, and I'm not talking to them on Facebook because they're not on Facebook. So is there somewhere else I could go? And that's what they're doing this year. Now they're still spending more than ever on Facebook than they have in any other year, but they're taking additional budget and they're saying the same question they asked in 2020 about Facebook ads. Can I turn this into a vending machine that takes $1 and turns it into 3, 4, 8, 9, 10?
Right.
And as long as it's profitable, that's where they want to be. So that's what they've done. They've taken that and they've applied the same thing to TikTok, and they've applied the same thing to Google, and they've applied the same thing to other tools. We mentioned, I'm not sure if we mentioned retention.com, but they're using retention.com as well to leverage every website visitor that comes to their site. We're grabbing, as many as we can as email addresses so that we could talk to them again a second time. In email newsletters, they're growing their email newsletter. They're sending more email newsletters than they've sent in the past. And this is all in way of growth in the business from a perspective of new people, new creative, new product, optimized experience, and basically like squeezing the lemon for every drop of additional juice it can get. And that's essentially what the company has done. And as you mentioned, last year they sat like just shy of 40, and I expect them to pass. They'll probably pass 47 million this year, and it's just a matter of expanding out that exact thesis through additional channels that would not have happened if in 2020 they didn't shift from that mindset of I have $5,000 to spend to I have a vending machine that's making me tons of money, and I have a way of making unlimited product. So as long as I can keep getting new product, and they ship new product every Tuesday, right? Every Tuesday morning, they get new product. And that's only possible because they already were a company that designed the product, the business in that way to have enough product. They ship internationally. They could be anywhere in the world in 6 to 8 days, and they have the content and the the rest of the system is all working in tandem with the ad strategy and with the social experience and with the landing page experience to drive more and more revenue into the business.
That is a fantastic story. I think there's an unlimited amount of takeaways here, and for any of the brands who are listening to this, there is still a very clear recipe. And the recipe was you're already doing X, Y, and Z, whether it's you're already producing social creatives, you already have the manufacturing in place, you have the capability for scale. The problem was the mental shift of viewing Facebook ads as an algorithm for vending machine, as opposed to just saying, I only have a limited amount of budget, so that's how much I'm spending. Once you were able to make that shift, the scale happened. I imagine it was a lot of work, but it also sounds like it was very realistic. And this is a model that can be applied to many, many other brands.
So if you're a brand, and as confused as you are, if you're a brand and you're already generating $5 to $10 million a year, and you're already putting out content around that product, and you already have a social presence where people engage with your Instagram or Facebook, the idea that you're not leveraging social ads to generate all this extra income, you're literally sitting on a pot of gold right now that is, for me, a lot of work, which is why you hire someone like me. But for you as the brand, it's just a matter of hand the keys over so that we could scale this baby up. And if you're wondering, is now a good time? Yeah. Again, costs are higher, which is why you need someone there to know what you're doing to make sure you're still profitable and able to scale. But the opportunity for you to essentially double your revenue in a year, we tripled their revenues in the first year alone, right? Talking about turnaround, it's now been not even 5 years, and we 7x what they were in 2019. So the opportunity for you to essentially do that is there. All of the pieces are already there for you. The audience, the content, the product, the landing page. If you have that and you aren't running Facebook ads, we should talk.
We should talk. I'm very excited about this episode. This is a really fun thing here. I think there's a lot to learn here, and stay tuned till next week. We got another one coming at you. What are we going to talk about, Israel? I don't know yet, but
surprise even for us.
Amazing. All right, thank you, everybody, and have an amazing day. That was good.